Are we doing it?
Y'all gonna.
I'm Janet Nimmo, and I give Sydney on permission to record this.
Perfect. Thank you. This is the beginning of our interview. So I have a couple questions for you
Okay.
based off of your life. So the first thing is, where were you born and or grew up, like when you were little?
Okay, I was born in Roswell, New Mexico, and I lived there till I was 10 years old, at which time we moved to Amarillo, Texas.
Okay. And in New Mexico, where you lived, do you remember exploring and going out, or what did you do when you were younger?
Well, we went, occasionally we went to a place called the Bottomless Lakes, and we'd go for picnics and swim, and we lived right across the street from New Mexico Military Institute, and back then it wasn't fenced in. And we'd go across the street. We lived right across the street, and we'd go over there and play and climb trees, and I remember that very vividly. And other than just playing, going to the Bottomless Lakes and doing that, I don't really remember a whole lot, but just playing with my friends.
Okay. When you were in grade school and a little bit of high school, were you really involved?
No, I could have been more involved. I guess you would call it socially.
Mm-hmm.
But my very best friend wasn't invited to join some of the things that I was invited to join. And because she was such a good friend of mine, I didn't join. So I really wasn't that outgoing when I was growing up.
Okay. So obviously, I know that things were different back then versus how they are now. Did you work while you were in school?
I worked in summer school. Between class years, I worked a little bit in the summer. And then when I was into I guess you're not ready for junior college yet, though, are you?
Not yet.
Okay.
Not yet. Okay, so then in your teenage years, do you feel that your relationships, as in friendships and things like that, during that time period impacted your life?
Impacted my life?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yes, I do. I felt like that was when I really began to understand what friendship and girls and boys were all about.
Mm-hmm.
But I can just say yes.
Okay. Are you married?
No, I'm widowed.
Okay. When did you get married? Like what age?
I was 21 when I first married, and that marriage didn't last. And my last marriage, it was in 1980, and that marriage lasted until my husband died.
Okay. How many children do you have?
I have 4 by my marriage.
Okay. And how many grandchildren?
9, I believe.
Okay. What was your career during, your adult years?
Well, in the earlier part of my adult life, we called them secretaries. In the latter part of my working career, we called them assistants. But that's what I did. I was always a secretary or assistant to the president or vice president or whatever.
Okay. When you look back on your life, how do you feel?
Very good, very blessed.
Would you change anything?
I probably would, but I don't know any specific thing that I would change. I had a good life, so I'm happy with the way way everything went. And all I know, I made some mistakes and made some bad decisions, but we all do that. But no, I'm happy looking back over my life.
Do you have any comments before the conclusion of our interview?
No, other than the fact that I do feel very blessed, and through my children and my grandchildren, I have become a lot closer to Jesus and God, and I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful for my grandkids and kids.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for allowing me to interview you, and this is the conclusion.